Hello and welcome to Paper Plays Julie K.
Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for stopping by to check out my latest video. And today I'm here continuing on with the Junk Journal January 2025 hosted by Meg Journals. And I'm looking, today's prompt is magazine. So that one should be kind of a fun one. And I did pull out some stuff and also kind of prepped a little bit for today's video. And I did go through, I had some older magazines in my stash that I can't even remember. I think I picked them up at a rummage sale and they were in a pile of other stuff that I wanted and I just kept them. And so I did pull this one out and I just kind of was paging through it after yesterday's episode when I looked at what the prompt was for today. Just trying to maybe come up with an idea or something to use the magazine. And this one is... And this one was from before I was born, but it's a women's household magazine, and it just kind of, there's recipes, there's some advertising in here, there's little stories, there's some craft stuff. And so when I was going through it, the first thing that kind of stood out to me when I was like, what can I do with something in here in my journal? This one just stood out just because of the picture. There's a lady that's like, you can sew a complete wardrobe of smart new clothes. That one just kind of stood out to me. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just run with that and do something with that on my journal for today. And so then I did pull out, I have a rubber stamp that kind of correlates with, you know, the little dress form there and the person sewing their own clothes. And so I did go ahead and stamp it, and I just colored just the dress part of it because I think I'm going to make a little journal card out of that. And so I pulled out some papers for that, and then I also have some trim that maybe I can use on that. And so what I think I'm going to do with this one is I'm just going to, I think I want to make a belly band today in my journal, and I think I'm just going to fold up this fun little sheet of paper and put it in the belly band along with the journal card. And so I'm just going to, I don't know how I should fold this up, if I should fold it up. Because I think my page, because I'm working on the journal and here's the spot, so it's going to be too long. So for sure, I'm going to have to fold it in half and then maybe half again. So let's just fold that. And then we'll fold it this way. Because sometimes it's just kind of fun when you have journals to have original like magazines or ephemera or things like that. So I think that I'll just throw in to the belly band and it'll just stick out. So I'll do that because I think that's kind of interesting. And then I did go through my scrap papers, and so I had this long sheet of 12 by 12 papers. I think this came from a Hobby Lobby pad, and I folded it this way because I was thinking I could maybe make like a little interactive type belly band where you could open this up, and if you wanted to, you'd have a spot to journal. And so that was kind of my motivation. And then also looking at the magazine, I was like, well, is there any other pages that might go along with the sewing theme or clothing theme? And then on the last page, I kind of like this little advertising for do you want a dream figure? And you know, they had like all sorts of little undergarments and, you know, ads for that. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just put that on my paper for my base layer for the background of it behind the belly band. So I'm going to tear that one out. And I'm just going to use that as my base paper just to kind of continue to work with the magazine kind of theme. And I'm going to pull out just the little signature here that we're working on. And yesterday, that's what yesterday's turned out. I know on yesterday's video, I was kind of quiet on that one. I just wasn't in a very chatty mood, I don't think. But I was thinking I could put the belly band here on this side. And I kind of have an idea for tomorrow's prompt. And I'm going to use part of this for tomorrow's prompt, this piece right here. But I am just going to lay down some of the paper on top of this one so that they'll kind of coordinate into each other possibly a little bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to cover this and this with the paper, but I do want to keep this little sentiment up at the top that says, do you want a dream figure? Because I'm going to see if I can get that to fit inside the belly band. when you open it up. I just think it's kind of funny. So, so I'm just going to tear that off carefully. Let's see if my... Or I might just layer it somehow nicely on the back of the page too. We'll see what happens here. So I'm just going to pull that off. It might be too long. Let me look. Oh, it just fits. Okay. And let's just tear this down a little bit. So what is this? This one is a little under 4 inches. So where would that put me? That's 4, so it'd be just maybe slightly less. We'll just do that right there and see what that looks like. All right, so what would that look like on here then? Like I said, this is just would be a background, and then I would cut this down over it. Or do I just want to make a pocket? No, I do want to make the belly band. I'm just going to use, like I said, I'm just going to use that as the background. And that would fit over there, unless I like the back side better. Oh, I'm going to go like that, and I'll just tear it off the bottom after I have it glued down. So let's put some glue down. Yeah, so I'm getting ready, I guess, for company. We're going to have my husband's cousin and his wife come up, and they usually come up a few times a year. We all get along really good, and this time of year, I don't know, I think I mentioned it in one of my earlier videos that my husband ice fishes a lot this time of year, so his cousin loves to ice fish, so they're going to come up, and then, so I'm kind of getting ready, trying to come up with a menu plan for that. And they'll just come up for a few days and spend some time at the lake with us. And so that'll be kind of fun. I always enjoy their visits. I know in the summertime, too, they rent a cabin that's, maybe 45 minutes, an hour away from our cabin. And so usually we go and we'll even just spend the night with them over at where they rent. So... Like I said, we do, and then usually the boys go fishing and the girls do go shopping, or sometimes we'll just sit there, and sometimes she has to work, and she can work from anywhere, so I'll just bring crafting supplies and I'll just sit at a table and craft or stuff. And I don't know this time if we might run into town and go shopping. We kind of have a small little town that has like kind of a few little, where I live, few little touristy shops. There's also another little town that has a few more that's about a half hour away. So I'll just kind of see what she's interested in doing when she comes, if she wants to craft or not. And sometimes we actually even go thrifting. So I'm more of a thrifter than she is, but she doesn't mind. She has grandkids, so she does like to go look for fun little toys and stuff, or books, because some of her grandkids are really into books, so she likes to see what she can find for them. So I'll just see if she's interested in doing that, or if she just wants to hang out, and we'll find a movie to watch, and sometimes I can craft then while we're watching a movie, or... So we'll just see. I got a huge pile of, if any of you guys follow my like thrifting videos, I don't know when I'll show this on one of them, because usually I wait till I have a pile of stuff to show you guys. But my mom's neighbor Joanne came across somebody else getting rid of more craft supplies, and so, you know, if she can't use anything, she always thinks of me. So I literally have this huge box full of like 1-inch and 2-inch ribbons that I need to go through and decide if I'm gonna, you know, I'll probably keep some of them. For sure I'll go through and keep all the shabby pinks and the white colors, just because that's you know, my style. And there's some brighter ones in there, so I'll have to see if I decide to keep those or not. But I was thinking, I've watched lately a few like little quick videos on either Pinterest or YouTube of people making flowers from like different ribbons. So I might try my hand at making a few different types of flowers and see how that goes. Because I mean, now would be a perfect time to do it. I mean, I could just grab one of those random colors that maybe I don't necessarily plan on using and just see if, you know, see if the flower turns out first before I go ahead and, you know, tear up a color that I know that I would for sure use on a project. But I do like making flowers. I'd like to make those singed ones out of like old wedding dresses and stuff. So it might be time to do a couple different ones. And I also make those little easy gathered ones too. But it might be fun to try some different ones. All right, so that's kind of, those two kind of play into each other. You know, and then once I have my book bound, I can always go back in and add like washi tape over these two or whatever to make them look like, or another piece of paper to make them look like they match even more. But I'm just going to do that for tomorrow's episode to have something kind of overlapping. I don't know what's on this side, if I should cover this page too. Well, I'll hold on to these scraps for tomorrow because maybe I will add something. So here is the belly band that I wanted to put on here. And I want to make sure that I can see this part of the little dress form. So let's just rip up right up here. Then I have another little thing I can stick in a tuck spot for journaling somewhere if I want. And so then if I did that, then I would have to rip right about here. Oh, I guess I kind of didn't measure quite right there. Try it again. It's always the nice thing when you do ripping. As long as you don't rip too much, usually you can. All right, so that'll work. The belly band. And then on this page, I do want to, I'm just going to flip this over real quick. No, not on this one. On this one, I do want to stamp before I start gluing stuff down. So I want to stamp the number 12 since today is episode number 12. Just have to double check and look. Nope. Oh, it's magazine's 11. I'm glad I looked at that because that could have been bad. All right. So tomorrow's episode 12. So today's episode 11. So day 11. Yeah, okay. Just had to make sure I stamped yesterday's right too. That I wasn't a day ahead of myself or something. I mean, I'm recording these a day in advance just because it makes it easier for downloading and stuff, just because I do live in the middle of nowhere and sometimes our internet does not always cooperate. So it was nice that we had the prompts early so that I could do this, that I could sit down and stamp stuff a day, you know, not stamp, but work on the pages and layouts a day in advance for Junk Journal January. So there, number 11. Glad I checked before I stamped. I could have, then I would have had to find another piece of paper to go over it or something. All right, so that's for today. So number 11. And like I said, I think I want to stick this in there once I glue it down. I think that'll still fit. And then I wanted to make a journal card. So let's make the journal card and then I'll see about embellishing and gluing that down. And seeing if I want to add, do you want a dream figure, or, you know, I could just glue that, which I'm kind of tempted to do, just glue that on the inside of here. So that's probably where that one's gonna go. So for this, I kind of see myself just kind of tearing it down, and I might take this to the sewing machine too. And I just stamped this on some tea-dyed paper that I had in my stash. And I think I do want to color the edges of that with some ink, I think. Yeah, and that stamp, I know I showed you guys the front of it, but let me look at the brand and see if I can figure out. Inkadinkado is the name of the brand of that one. And it was one that I purchased at Tuesday Morning, when Tuesday Morning existed. I really do miss that store. Where I live, it's a couple hours away, but it was in Fargo when it was here in North Dakota, and we have an apartment in Fargo that I drive back to and check on every week or two. Sometimes my husband does it, and sometimes I go back. But I would always stop at Tuesday Morning, and I have to say I really do miss that store. Then I also pulled out some lined notepad or index cards that I picked up at the thrift store, because I just figured I could put that on the back side just for a spot to journal. So I'm thinking that this I'm just going to glue down on here somewhere, and I'll probably trim it and make this a little bit shorter of a journal card. So let me go ahead and add this first. And I think I have a paper trimmer, my little one, sitting here. So I'm gonna just trim this one down then. This is my little travel one that if I travel and I need to bring a little paper trimmer with, this one's easy to bring with me. So that should work, I think, and that'll still fit in if I'm fitting here. So I'm gonna just trim this one down then. This is my little travel one that if I travel and I need to bring a little paper trimmer with, this one. I know what it is. I just like to do extra sewing in my journal when I have time. I just like the look of it. So, and I think it kind of fits with this theme a little bit. Unless, of course, I decide to put some trim on this one. I think this one I can just cut out here. So that'll work. Yeah, I think I do want to put this on the inside of here, so I'm going to go ahead and glue that down while I'm gluing. So back to the layout. So that's going to get glued down, and then I'll have this little journal card to put in here. And then I'm also going to tuck in that little advertising for that in here. And then that'll be about it today, but I'll come back. I'm going to go ahead and sew around this. And then I think I'm also going to sew around this, and I think also while I'm sewing I'm going to stitch on this little trim, or I have this blue piece still floating around on my desk. I wonder what that would look like. No. What else do I have? Oh, I have this crochet trim from the other day, from earlier in the journal. So yeah, I think I'm going to put that on, sew that on the side of this, and maybe I will sew just this on the side of this journal card, because then that'd be easier to pull it out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll come back and show you guys And then I'll have glued this down into place to make it into a belly band. So I will be back shortly. So I finished sewing down the sides and also adding a little bit of trim on here, and also finished the journal card. So there is kind of my page layout right here. And this is a belly band. And it's still kind of drying up top, but so that'll fit inside the belly band along with this little advertisement piece that I cut out. I might have to put a clip up there to hold that down while it dries. So, and then I think the only other thing that I'm going to do, like I said, I'll incorporate this page into tomorrow's. I kind of have an idea for that. The only thing I wanted to do on this was add one little piece of trim. So I'm just going to cut this out and glue that down right here. And we'll just add that right there just for a little extra embellishment. And I guess that is our layout for today. I'm not loving it, but I'm not hating it either. So hopefully tomorrow it'll look a little bit better once I add to this side. And I'll decorate over here tomorrow too. So you guys will have to let me know what you think, and hopefully I will see you back again tomorrow for another episode. And so today was number 11 from magazine, and so tomorrow is overlap. So number 12 is tomorrow. So thank you again, everybody, so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you back tomorrow. Until then, have a wonderful day and happy crafting.